morning.
Rebel, we can start whenever you're ready. We are live on YouTube. I'll share the link in the chat box.
All right. Thank you so much, Melanie. All right. Good morning, grade sixes. Welcome again. It's Friday. Finally, we have made it through this week. In fact, we've made it through, 22 days of lockdown, guys. All right. Anyway, welcome to Natural Science grade 6. Just to remind you who I am, again, I am Karabo Fiona Khashani, and you can find me on Instagram at KB_Khashani and on Facebook, Karabo Fiona Khashani. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you may enjoy today's lesson. It's actually just going to be a recap of what we have covered for those who are joining us today for the first time. All right, so please do take notes. Remember to always have your notebooks with you. If I am going too fast or moving the slides too fast, just let me know so that I can slow down to give you a chance to copy down if you need to. But anyway, let's go. All right, so basically by the end of today's lesson, we're going to basically just discuss again why is clean water supply so important and how is it cleaned. We're going to discuss the effects of mixtures and the effects on the environment. And sorry, let's just go back. All right, so we're basically just going to be touching on the subjects that we have, the topics that we have touched on starting from Monday. Those were solutions, insoluble, soluble solutions. Basically, it's just a link. All right, so let's go. So I'm going to start with the last topic that we've touched, which was yesterday, moving on to the very first topic that we discussed. So it's going to be a lot of questions and I'm expecting a lot of interaction and a lot of answers from you, just to reboost your memory. All right, water resources. So we know that now water might look unsafe, but it is safe, and water might look clean, but has germs, it makes it look unsafe to drink. If you were a part of yesterday's lesson, I had 2 glasses of water. One was clean water and one was dirty water. And the dirty water, a lot of you said that it was very unsafe to drink. And in fact, I left, hold on a second, let me just go fetch that cup. Give me a second. All right, so in fact, yesterday I decided not to pour out the water of the dirty water, and you can actually see how it has settled. I mean, look at that. Look at how all that dirt at the bottom settled, and at the top are just floating particles, which I could actually just remove with a teaspoon. All right, but everything has sunk to the bottom. I decided to just leave that overnight after our lesson yesterday, just to see what would happen. So now, because a lot of the particles have settled, do you think, let me just make this a bit bigger for you to see. So now that the particles have actually settled, do you think that this would be safe to drink? Do you think that this would be safe to drink? I mean, if I could just remove the stuff at the top, a lot of the sand and the mud and all of that is at the bottom. So do you think it would be safe to drink? Let's just go back to the slide. All right, so maybe you can tell me if you consider it. All right, Tando says no, not safe to drink, 100%. What about some of you? Loazi says yes, safe. All right, then we've got Debbie saying no. A lot of you are actually saying no, it does not look safe to drink. Kanya says it still has germs. Tasnay says it's not safe. Oluetu says yes. So a lot of you are, it's yes and no. All right, I'm going to take several hands. I'll take Babalo. Tell me if you think this is safe or unsafe to drink.
Ma'am, I think it's not safe, ma'am, because, ma'am, there are still particles floating at the top, ma'am, and they might be the bacteria, ma'am.
Interesting point. Thank you. And I will take, let's see who's here. All right, what about Itumeleng?
Yes, ma'am. It is not safe because the tap waters may be dirty where the water comes out.
Okay, cool, interesting, interesting. What about you, Hanro? Safe to drink or not? Okay, I'm struggling to get through to Hanro. Alrighty. Tando, is it safe or unsafe to drink?
If you can actually see the sand actually moving around, imagine all those germs flowing into your body. Then what if you just swallowed a stomach bug? Then it starts laying eggs in you and everything, and you start getting sick. You don't know how this started. You wanted to be childish and drink dirty water, and look, you face the consequences, and now you're sick.
All right. Oh, interesting. Thank you so much for that answer. All right. So we actually don't even know what's in here. Some things could really just make us really, really sick. And Hanra, I see that you lost connection. It's okay. I really do understand. All right. Iksan said that unless I boil this. So maybe I'll boil it. And then on Monday, we can have a look. Actually, no, that will be my task. That'll be my homework for you guys. I will boil this. And Monday's lesson, we will actually then see if it perhaps changes or if you then consider it safe to drink. All right, I'm going to take the last hand, Josie Adams.
Yes. Ma'am?
Yes, Josie.
If you try drinking the water, the sand will come down, and you will technically be swallowing the sand.
All right, so chances are I will probably definitely be swallowing the sand. It's so great that I'm seeing so many hands up. Thank you guys so much for actually participating. But towards the end, if you still do have something to say, I will give you a chance. All right, let's move on to the next point that we have. Steps or processes in the treatment of water. The 5 processes commonly used to treat water are screening, filtering, aeration, settling, and disinfection. Now, who can remind me what is screening? You can just type in your chats to tell me who remembers what is screening. All right, Untadile, I see you've raised your hand. Can you please tell me what is screening?
Screening is when you, typically catch all the big things that are in the dirty water to remove most of the things polluting the water so that you can carry on with the process of cleaning the water and producing it to other homes.
All right, thank you so much. I see that we've got Rylan who said it is when they look at all the germs in the water, and Debbie says when they look under a light to see the germs. 100% correct. So remember now with then Tando also said to just catch the big germs, 100%. Now remember with screening, they have something like a very, very big sieve, and that sieve actually traps all of the big particles. But the smaller particles have still managed to filter their way through. So meaning the water is not yet clean. All right, let's move on to the next step, and that is filtering. Who remembers what is then filtering? Ashley, can you tell me what is filtering?
Filtering means when
when the filter removes all dirt and other substances from the water.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashley. Thank you so much for your answer. All right, let's see, maybe I'll take another hand. Let's have who? Astrid. I think that's it, Astrid.
Filtering is when you put the water through a filter and then it traps all the dirt.
Okay, thank you so much, Astrid. And I'm going to take the last hand, Tando.
Ma'am,
Yes.
yes, ma'am, about filtering, right? About filtering. So, filtering. So they fill all the dirty water up. They get all these chemicals that can remove all the sandy germs, the ones that float in the water, the ones that we mostly can't see, right? So they take it to a filter. They pour these chemicals. Once these chemicals are done doing their job, they move the water to another stage that they have to go through.
All right. Thank you so much, Tando. Excellent. All right. And we've got Iksan who says the water flows through a special filter made up of sand and gravel to filter the water. 100% correct. And lastly, Davy said when they pour water in a filter to remove the germs. All right. Hundreds. Thank you guys so much. Then the third step is called aeration. Now, who can tell me what happens in the aeration process? Who remembers? Anybody? Charmaine. Nope, did put your hand back down? Nope, Charmaine went back down. All right, in our chats, anybody? What is aeration? JD says when the bacteria, I think it is in the water and there is air bubbles like a fish tank. Oh, interesting. And that's a very nice comparison. All right. Anybody else who remembers what aeration means? Now, just a hint, the word aeration, the word air is in aeration. So just use that as a hint. What about you, Untatile?
Aeration is when they put the water in a tank and then they let the water bubble to take out most of the bacteria that's still left, and then it moves on to the next station, which is settling.
All right, thank you so much. And I see Jaden. Jaden, what about you? What is aeration? What is that process about? What happens there? Jaden. No, I think Jaden put his or her hand back down. All right. And lastly, I see Tando saying to bubble up the water into the air. So basically, aeration is helpful and actually happens when a lot of air is pumped and all the water just starts bubbling up. All right. It helps in terms of straight after the filtering, aeration wasn't here. And then Sia says, I wasn't here yesterday because I only found out the website. Oh, it's okay, Sia. There are videos that may be uploaded and you will get a website to check all of the lessons that we've learned about. So you really did not miss anything. You can always catch up. But at least you're here now, Sia. So welcome and I hope you do enjoy. All right. Hanro also says aeration brings water and air in close contact in order to remove dissolved gases. Interesting, Hanro. Thank you so much. And lastly, Ndimbas, it kills all the germs. Thank you so much, guys. All right, then the second last step is called settling. Here's a hint. Settling, what is happening? What is settling? What happens in the settling stage? Charmaine, yes. Please tell us.
Settling, ma'am. Or aeration.
Settling.
Ma'am, I don't know much about it, but I think you must put it in somewhere and then you must just let it settle and let the germs go out somehow. I
All
don't
right.
know, man.
Yes, you're right, Charmaine. You need to trust that brain. 100%. Yes, of course. All right. And I see someone here, Raylan. I think I pronounced, I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly. Raylan, I think it is. What do you think is settling?
Settling is when they get rid of all the bigger particles, and then the bigger particles they settle to the bottom, and then all you need is disinfecting, and then they disinfect this. Then they put chemicals in and get rid of the smaller particles.
All right, thank you. And did I pronounce your name correctly, Raylan? All right, cool. All right, and I see, I think it's Solga. You've had your hand up for quite a while. Solga, do you want to tell me what is settling?
Settling. I think settling means like, I think they get rid of the dirt and they what is this? And then they clean the water. I don't know what settling is, man.
You were on the right track. You were doing
Wait,
pretty
was I?
well. Yeah,
Wait, was
carry on.
Okay. And then afterwards they put it, and then they had it clean water, and then they what is this? I don't know, but I think I'm right. I'm in the right track, but I think I meant it's when you clean the water. I think you had to do the settling thing. Am I right or wrong?
All right, I will explain. Thank you so much, Solga. All right, guys. So
it's okay.
Thank you. Awesome stuff. All right, let me just check the chat before I tell you. Ashley says a large substance called flock, all right, settle to the bottom as sediment. Did you say flock, right? All the germs settling below from Tando. Then a lot of you are saying Iksan, the water is put in a tank, and the sludge, awesome word, Iksan. The sludge slinks to the bottom of the tank. Hanro says settling means that all the big particles fall to the bottom and the smaller particles are at the top. Thank you so much for your answers. So basically this picture over here, so the third picture is settling. So the water is placed in large tanks. All right, obviously definitely not this, but this is large enough, hey? All right, it's placed in very large tanks, and all the heavy particles sink to the bottom. Just like my water over here, all the sand and all this other dusty stuff this is actually amazing to see the stuff that are in here. There's actually dust in here. All the particles sink to the bottom, and all that's left are just the floating particles at the top. Thank you so much. Right, then the last process is called disinfection. What is disinfection? I'll take Luanle. I see your hand has also been up for quite some time, Luanle.
Kill all the germs on the surface.
Are you there, Luanle?
It's when you kill all the germs in surface.
All right, when you kill all the germs in the surface. Interesting. Thank you, Luanle. All right. And I see there's Mpilentle. Mpilentle, what is settling?
Ma'am, settling. Ma'am, settling is when all the
disinfection, Mpilentle. Disinfection, sorry.
Disinfection is when it's like when they use some chemicals to take away all the dirt that's in that water.
That is 100% correct. When chemicals are placed in the water and put in the water, just to kill all the leftover bacteria that may still be in the water. All right, awesome stuff. Thank you so much for those answers. All right. All right, and I see some of you saying Tasne, where they remove the last bits of germs, correct? Kanya, it is when they use chemicals that kill all the germs that are still in there. Babalo, when the water is disinfected, obviously meaning that it is now clean. Then we've got Mukono saying disinfection means, went up. Disinfection means chemicals are added to kill any that are still in there. Hundreds. And obviously Tesne says where they remove the last bits of germs. All right, so basically you all understand the term of disinfection is when chemicals are placed in the water just to remove the last bits of germs. And Hanro, when chemicals are placed in the water to kill microorganisms. All right, thank you. Awesome, guys. All righty. So this was basically the diagram that I had just to basically help you understand the process. So obviously the water starts in a river or a dam. Just follow with me as I read the arrows. So the water starts in a river or a dam, or even from wastewater. This could be water that we've used already, the kitchen, the bath, that all goes down the drain. Then water is pumped to the treatment plant, all right? Just a very, very large area where water is actually cleaned. Then after that screening, the water flows through a giant sieve-like filter. It traps all of the large pieces of solid matter and rubbish. Then moving on is settling. The water goes into a settling tank where it sits for a while. All the medium-sized matter sinks to the bottom and can be removed. Then it goes into aeration. Now, aeration is the water that contains only small pieces of matter. It is pumped into a tank containing useful bacteria, which breaks down the last bits of solid matter. Bacteria need oxygen to survive, so air is bubbled through the water. Then it goes through filtering. Water flows through a filter of sand and gravel. This filters out the rest of the particles and last of the bacteria. Then disinfecting, our chemicals are now added to the water to kill any germs or bacteria that came through the filters. Finally, water is pumped through to the reservoirs and to our taps. Now, a lot of you are extremely fortunate to have clean running water in your tap. There are some people that have to travel or walk miles to the river with a bucket just trying to get water. In fact, just yesterday I was speaking to a friend of mine who is in the Eastern Cape, and she just left with her family just before the lockdown, and she was telling me that they actually only have 2 taps for the entire community. So they rely on a JoJo tank. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a huge tank. Carries about 2,200 liters and above. That's a lot of water. So that friend of mine relies on the JoJo tank for water to supply the entire household. Only 2 taps, but there are some areas where, there is no taps and there's no form of water coming in. All right. Tando, I see you've got your hand up.
Ma'am, it's about this revolves in our taps, ma'am. So, ma'am, let's say they're all cleaning our water and all that stuff, but then something bad happens. Let's say the factory itself, it breaks and we can't get the water. So are they going to ask another factory that does this water thing, ma'am? Then are they going to help us bring water, or are we gonna wait until they fix that specific place?
All right, so usually if there's a problem, you might find that you won't even have water coming out of your tap, and you will find that the local community, or you'll find that they actually let the people know that there's been a burst pipe or there's been a problem with the water treatment. So please don't expect water from this time to this time. So you might find that they actually do warn residents that there will be no water due to this and this and this. If it does take a while, I know in some areas they actually bring water trucks. In some areas where if there hasn't been water for a long time, or if a pipe has burst, they bring a large water truck where people can actually start collecting water with buckets. All right. But most of the time they do warn people that, listen up, this is happening. You will not have water from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, whatever the case is.
Yes,
All right,
yes,
Tanya, I hope I answered your question.
yeah, yes, ma'am, yes, you actually did.
I'm glad. All right. Ndimbas, I think it is. Is it Ndimbas? See, you also got your hand up.
Yes, ma'am, but what happens? Does all the water flow from the sewer to the treatment plants?
Not all water. Remember, they also get water from the dam. So you might find that some of the water comes from sewage and some of the water comes from the dams. But from your household, most of it is going back to the water treatment plant to be recycled again. All right.
Yay.
Awesome. Josie Adams.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Like in other towns, why they like purify water differently? Like I remember this time last year when I went over to my dad's house in Rustenburg to sleep for about a week. The water tasted different than the one from here in Pretoria, because he lives in Rustenburg. Why does it taste different a bit?
I think actually I've also realized that like when I go to Limpopo as well, the water is completely different to here in Gauteng, doesn't taste the same. I can't give you an exact answer, but I will find out for you as to why exactly is that. But it could also be because of the chemicals that are being placed to actually clean the water. All right. You might find that in some areas the water is very salty, or some of it's just very bubbly or something like that. All right. So it could be because of the chemicals, or in fact, maybe if anybody actually knows why the water could taste different, that is also your homework. Maybe you can tell us why you think water tastes different in certain areas. All right. I see a lot of you have got your hands up. Let me just move on to the next slide because of time. And then if we still have time, I will address all of your questions. But thank you so much, guys, for actually participating. I'm loving it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we also spoke about wetlands and polluted water. Now, if you look at those pictures there, that's water that has been polluted. Plastics, things and substances that are not supposed to be in the water. And mainly because it's humans that are actually destroying the water and making the water dirty, right? The fish are dying because there's obviously something in that water that is not supposed to be in there, all right? Remember, if you do have a question, just do type it in your chats and I'll make a plan to scroll up and have a read about it, all right? Someone said that minerals, so Ndimba said that maybe the water tastes different because of the minerals, right? Also interesting because different provinces, different areas have different minerals. So it also could be the cause of why the water is tasting different. All right, so water can be polluted by insoluble substances such as oil, plastics, tires, tins, glass, and toilet waste. Now, just to remind you, insoluble substances are substances that cannot dissolve or they cannot become a solution with the water. For example, a plastic, once it's in the water, it will not dissolve. We're going to have to take it out by either sieving or hand sorting. But oil, plastics, and all those stuff in the water, they cannot just magically disappear in the water. It's insoluble. It cannot dissolve and it cannot become a solution. That is a very, very important one for you to know. Insoluble substances. All right. Then there's soluble substances. These could be soaps, fertilizers, insecticides, acids, and other poisons. Now, these are obviously substances that actually dissolve in the water. They form a solution. All right. So your soaps, your insecticides, you actually cannot see them. This, I could have put some dishwashing liquid in here. All right, but because it's a liquid, obviously it becomes a solution. All right, someone is asking, Tando, why do people pollute water? My question is as good as yours, Tando. Why water? So please, in your chats, type and tell me, answer, Tando, please. Why are people actually polluting the water? All right, please tell us why people are polluting the water. I would also love to know why is it so. All right, water can also be polluted by living germs from toilet waste, causing waterborne illnesses such as diarrhea. All right, now what exactly are pollutants? Who remembers what are pollutants? So Una and JD says water, people are polluting because they are lazy. Sure. Interesting, hey? We are lazy. What are pollutants? Astrid.
It is objects and soluble substances that goes into water that pollutes it.
Excellent answer. You've said exactly what I was going to say. Thank you so much. Babalo.
Ma'am,
Yes.
sorry, ma'am, I forgot to put my hand down.
Oh, okay, cool. Ash. Are you there, Ash? No, doesn't seem like it. All right, cool. Let's move on. All right, so what exactly are pollutants? All right, now pollutants are substances or objects that do not naturally belong in the water and are harmful to us and their environment. Just to go back, so Ndimba says that people are polluting because there's no space where the trash is burnt. So maybe Tanda, we're actually running out of space. Because there's no space, the dustbins are full, let's just rather chuck it in the water. All right, moving on to the slides. Pollutants, so humans and their activities are often the reason why water becomes polluted. So Tando's question was very, very important as to why do people even pollute water? Why do they make the water dirty? Clearly, it is our fault that the water and the seas are dirty. All right, creatures or birds or lions will not decide to throw something in the water. It's definitely us. All right, it's us human beings. All right, as humans, we forget that we are sharing this natural resource with many other organisms. This world and this, this environment does not belong to us alone. We need to remember that we are sharing it with other organisms that rely on it just as much as we do. Now, if we're going to make the water dirty, it's going to affect us too in the long run, right? Imagine having to swim in a dirty sea, a dirty ocean with plastics, and it's really not nice having to maybe go to a swimming pool and finding that there's dirt in the water. You're going to get sick and it's just not comfortable. Then Ashley says, I think people forget that they should not pollute water and that they share the environment with animals and plants. 100% correct. All right, Kiara Sarah is asking me to slow down. All right, I will slow down. So sorry. All right. All right, so basically, as I was saying, that humans are the main cause as to why the waters are so dirty. All right, and we need to find a way to avoid it, a way to avoid how we can just stop making the water dirty. If any of you have any solutions or any ideas as to how we can stop water pollution, please let us know. Type in your chats. And we will attend to you as to how we can stop water pollution. All right, I'm going to take a couple hands. Charmaine.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So what is the question? How must we stop polluting?
Yes.
Ma'am, I think we should we should put like what you call it, um uh, I can't remember what I was gonna say, but you must put like buns by the next to like there by the ocean, ma'am. Like there's always a pathway there by the ocean sometimes. So you have to put buns like there and on the way to the beach so that you don't litter in the ocean. And if you see anyone littering, then you have to like put up signs that says you mustn't litter. That's all I got so far.
All right, no, thank you so much, Charmaine. That is more than enough. Raylan, I think it is Raylan.
We can start like a campaign, like a save the fish campaign, or something like that.
Oh, that sounds like interesting. All right, like save the fish campaign. Awesome. Just gonna take the last 10. I think it's Lehako. Lehako. I think I've got, not sure if I pronounced it correctly.
I think that maybe we could post where there's water, and also maybe they could place guards or something like that to watch the oceans.
Sorry, please just say that again.
I think we should maybe put posters and some people to watch the ocean. Or
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Then we've got Wopilo who's saying that says that we can stop water by using cardboard box to create bottles to drink from because there are more plastics in the sea. All right, so obviously there are several ways in which people can stop polluting water. Hopefully that people actually do listen and follow those rules. All right. Then we're just going to move on to wetlands. Now, this is an area, so a wetland is an area if it has the following. If it is waterlogged soil, water-loving plants, and a high water table, right? That is what a wetland is, if it has 3 of the following. Waterlogged soil, water-loving plants, and a high water table. Who can actually tell me what is waterlogged soil? What is waterlogged soil? Let's see, we'll take, who just raised their hand? Who's had their hand up for a while? Dr. Carl R. Johnson. Yes, what is waterlogged soil, doctor?
Sorry, I did it by mistake.
Okay, cool. All right. Lwazi, what's waterlogged soil? Lwazi?
Waterlogged soil is soil with water directly underneath it.
All right, I'm struggling to hear you, Lwazi, but I see that you've tapped in your chat there. Soil with water directly underneath. Raylan says very damp soil, soil that can take in a lot of water. All right. Debbie's asking, does cardboard disappear in the water if it is thrown in it? No, it does not disappear in the water. All right, awesome. So wetlands are like giant sponges. Wetlands slow down the flood waters, and wetlands are natural filtration systems for purifying water. I see P163, all right, they put the hand down again. All right, cool. All right, now with wetlands, there are temporary wetlands, which are only wet for about 1 to 4 months of the year. There's also seasonal wetlands, which are only wet for about 5 to 11 months of the year. And then there are permanent wetlands, which are wet throughout the year. All right, so obviously there are different kinds of wetlands, temporary, seasonal, and permanent. All right, let's move on to one of our very first topics that we had, and that was actually dissolving. All right, we spoke about dissolve, and I think I'm just going to stop after the slide, and we'll have to continue on Monday due to time. I don't want to just, information overload. So I think this will be my last slide, and we will continue on Monday. All right. So dissolving. Now, a solution is made when one substance called the solute dissolves into another substance called the solvent. All right. Now, dissolving is when the solute breaks up from larger crystals of molecules into much smaller groups of individual molecules. This breakup is caused by coming into contact with the solvent being the water. Some substances dissolve when mixed with water and will seem as if they have disappeared. Just like if you decide to make some sugar water, put some sugar inside the water and mix, it'll look as if the sugar has disappeared. But actually the sugar is still there, but we just cannot see it because the particles are so small. Now, the rate at which a substance dissolves can be affected by three things. The temperature of the solution. So if I put boiling water in a glass and add some sugar, it will dissolve quicker because the water is hot, right? Now, if I stir, it will dissolve quicker, whereas if I just let it settle, it will take longer to dissolve. And lastly, the grain size of the solute. So I gave examples previously where actually brown sugar crystals are a lot bigger than white sugar crystals. So depending on how big the solute is, it will take a while for it to dissolve. Now, what is the difference between dissolving and melting? That will be the first question that we will talk about on Monday. Unfortunately, due to time, I cannot carry on because I think you guys have just been absolutely amazing today with all of your questions. So on Monday, do remind me where we stopped. We stopped at the differences between dissolving and melting. So please do tune in on Monday. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in and being a part of today's lesson. Thank you all for your questions. And we will have a lesson where it's just going to be lessons, where it's just going to be questions and answers, just to help you guys through. All right. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry that we couldn't complete today's lesson because there's still a whole lot more information. So I'm just going to stop here. All right. Anyway, guys, have an awesome day and have an awesome weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. Remember to remind me where we stopped. Okay. Please. All right. Have a good day and goodbye.